Mr. Black, you say you're here today to finally prove that you are not the biological father of 4-month-old.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say when the results reveal you are not the father, you no longer want the child to have your last name.
Yes, Your Honor.
From lovers to enemies, Mr. Black wants to relinquish all fatherly roles, including the removal of his last name from Ms. Rockmore's 4-month-old son. Ms. Rockmore, on the other hand, is disgusted by the constant abdication by Mr. Black. Mr. Black's mother is even present in court, but which side will she be on? What prompted both lovers to be at each other's throat? Could it be because Ms. Rockmore's ex was still in the picture?
When I met Miss Rockmore, we had sex on the first night. I got to know her, and when I was getting to know her, her ex was still involved. And I believe he still got something to do with her while we was trying to get to know each other. And I don't know what they had going on, but I mean, that's one of my doubts.
Ms. Rockmore said she had sex with Mr. Black on the same day of meeting him because she was attracted to him. She said it shouldn't have happened, but it did, and she wasn't having sex with anyone at the time. She said she wasn't in a relationship with anybody either. The look on Mr. Black's face was that of doubt, but he kept silent.
Miss Rockmore, sex with somebody unprotected after you just walking around an apartment complex.
Because I really liked him.
Tell me.
It was just more because I really was, like, I was just instantly attracted to him when I first seen him. Yeah, I shouldn't have had sex with him the first night, but, you know, it happened.
So bottom line is you did, and there was no protection used?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Black said he had his doubts because during the time of talking with Ms. Rockmore, her ex was still coming around. He said he saw her with her ex, that the ex walked past him while talking to Ms. Rockmore, and he later took her to the store. He said he knew it was her ex because Ms. Rockmore told him.
I'm doubtful because at the time I was there and I was talking to her, that period of time, I seen her ex involved with her. I don't know if she's capable of having sex with me.
So you said you saw her with her ex?
Yes, ma'am. He walked past me while I was at our house talking to her, and he went and took her to the store.
The judge asked Mr. Black that if he didn't see the ex doing anything with Ms. Rockmore besides going to the store, why was he then doubtful? Mr. Black said he believes that a man would not be involved in a woman's life for nothing, that he would always be expecting something in return.
When you were talking, was this during the window of conception? Because you were doing more than talking since you standing here now. This during the window of conception? So I'm trying to understand the doubt, Mr. Black, because you say, I'm doubtful that the child could be mine even though I slept with her during the window of conception without protection.
Ms. Rockmore said when she found out she was pregnant, the first person she told was her mother. She said she followed her to see the doctor. She said after leaving the doctor's office, she called Mr. Black to tell him about the pregnancy. She said he didn't believe her until she showed him a sonogram.
So now, Ms. Rockmore, at some point you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, ma'am. The first person that I told was my mom, and that's because she went to the doctor with me. As soon as I left the doctor, I called Mr. Black to let him know that I was pregnant. And at the time, he didn't believe me. I showed him a sonogram picture, then that's when he believed me.
Mr. Black submitted a calendar to the court. The dates on the calendar showed when he had sex with Ms. Rockmore, and when he left, and when she told him she was pregnant. He said, according to those dates, that there's no way he's the father of the child. The judge pointed out how close the dates were, that he could be responsible for the pregnancy. The entire courtroom clapped.
So you believe there's no way based on this calendar that you are the father?
Yes, ma'am. Ain't no way I can be the father at all.
I may not be an OBGYN.
Yes, ma'am.
I was pretty. I'm counting back and I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I land in July.
Mr. Black said it was all about sex for him, that it was meant to be a one-time thing. The entire courtroom gasped in disgust. He said the baby just happened to come out of it. He said it might be a blessing, but he will not sit there and assume responsibilities for another person's child. The judge asked Ms. Rockmore if Mr. Black had been there for the child. She said no, that he hasn't.
I didn't give him the name, she gave him the name. I didn't agree to anything. She put my name on a hospital birth certificate. She gave him my name. I'm just doubtful all over, Your Honor. I mean, all I really wanted to do in the beginning was have sex anyway. Thing that happened and a baby came out of it, which is a blessing, but I'm not trying to sit here and be paying for somebody's other baby.
Mr. Black's mother was called to the stand. Ms. Black said she was disappointed and enraged that her son would bring Ms. Rockmore to court to prove he's not the father of her child. She said that's his son. The entire courtroom clapped. She said she believed the child was her grandchild. She said her son should step up to the plate. The entire courtroom clapped again.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'm his mom, and I bring this young lady to court to prove that's his son. I do believe that's my grandson. I raised my son better than that, to degrade women.
Ms. Black said she has a relationship with the child. She said she loved the child. Mr. Black said he felt bad that his mother was not his side. The whole courtroom jeered. Mr. Black said he has 3 daughters and that Ms. Rockmore's child doesn't look like any of his kids. He said he has a wife at home, that he's engaged. More jeers erupted in the courtroom. Only the DNA result can put this to bed.
Mr. Black, you are the father.
All right.
Well, there's a saying that mom knows best.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Feel
I'm so
emotional?
happy. I knew he was my grandson.
Ms. Cherpez, you claim you and your grandmother have been given no choice but to drag the defendant into court today because you say he moved away and abandoned your 9-month-old daughter, Araya. You believe the DNA results will prove that he is her biological father, and you demand he stops running from his responsibilities. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
What could have brought a grandmother and her granddaughter to Judge Lauren's courtroom? Ms. Chirpies and her seemingly sweet grandmother claims Mr. McQueen abandoned her child. They also claim that he's a deadbeat father that hasn't done anything for his child besides a box of diapers. The question on everyone's mind is, who is the guilty party here? Can Mr. McQueen prove that he's not the father of the child?
So, Ms. Cherpez, tell me, what has Mr. McQueen done for your daughter so far?
He has bought her 1 box of diapers and like 2 things of wipes.
So she's 8 months old, 9 months old, pretty much nothing?
Yep.
Mr. McQueen said he bought things for the child on 3 different occasions before leaving, including diapers. He said he dropped off some clothes for the grandmother too. He said he didn't believe he's still the father, but he still stepped up to the best of his ability. He said he had doubts because when they were together, her attention was always divided because of other men.
The first day I met her, I brought her diapers. The 3rd time she let me see Araya, I also brought her diapers and wipes, and the last time that I was trying to see her before I did leave the state of Michigan, I dropped off clothes and boxes of diapers and 3 packs of wipes to her grandmother.
Mr. McQueen said they were in a committed relationship. Ms. Chirpis confirmed this. Ms. Peggy, directing her gaze towards Mr. McQueen, said that she asked him when he was on their porch if he wanted this baby, and he said yes. He said he wanted the baby in the family, and now he's standing here in court doing the opposite. Some members of the audience sighed in agreement.
So tell me, what was the nature of your relationship? Were you committed? Were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yes, we were committed, yes.
So you were boyfriend and girlfriend in a committed relationship?
Yes.
You were boyfriend and girlfriend, Ms. Cherpez?
Yes.
Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
on our porch, I asked you if you wanted this baby and that this baby was yours, and you told me yes, that you wanted the baby and you wanted this family, and now you're standing here.
Mr. McQueen said it changed because he wants to know if the child is his or not. Ms. Chirpies said the only reason Mr. McQueen was doubting her was because he was unfaithful. Mr. McQueen didn't deny the claims. Ms. Chirpis said Mr. McQueen doesn't trust himself, so he was projecting his insecurities on her.
How did
Yeah.
it change?
It changed because I want to know if it's mine or not.
The only reason you're questioning me is because you were unfaithful.
I was unfaithful, yes.
And so you caught him cheating on you?
Yep.
And how did this lead to the paternity question? I mean, if you say you were faithful, he cheated on you, that still has nothing to do with Araya's paternity.
Ms. Chirpis said she found out Mr. McQueen was cheating when she set him up. She said she deceived him by telling him she was going over to her dad's for a few days, and she only spent a few hours there. When she returned, she caught Mr. McQueen with another woman in the house. She said she told the other woman to leave because she had her 3-year-old daughter with her.
Not necessarily set him up. I had told him I was going to my dad's for about 4 days. I had only went there for a few hours. And I told my dad that I just had this weird feeling. And as soon as I pulled in the driveway, I just instantly knew. And he came to the window, looked out, and I had told him to unlock my door. He had unlocked it, but stood in front of the door to where I couldn't open it all the way. And he's like, "You're gonna be mad." And I played dumb. I heard her talking.
So you opened the door and someone was there?
Yep.
Mr. McQueen said he has heard numerous times, and he has seen through the corner of his eyes when he peeked at Ms. Chirpus's phone that she was getting the attention of different men. He said she's also getting money from other men while he's working 12 hours a day. He said Ms. Chirpus once told him she was going to her dad's to do laundry, and he found out that she went to another man's house and spent the night.
Do you believe at the end of the day he thinks you're cheating because he's the one that's cheating?
Yes.
Mr. McQueen, is there truth to that? Are you just out there doing the wrong thing and you think she is too? What evidence do you have that she's even cheating?
I have heard numerous times and have seen her phone from the corner eye view of walking by that she is getting attention of other men. She's getting money from other men while I am working 12 hours a day.
Ms. Chirpus said it was true. There were murmurs throughout the entire courtroom. Ms. Chirpus said she slept over at another man's house because Mr. McQueen brought a woman to their house. She said she did it to avoid fighting. Ms. Chirpus said Mr. McQueen has brought about 3 different women to the house before. Whoa, resonated throughout the courtroom.
Is that true, Ms. Chirpus?
Yes.
So you did? You went to another man's house and spent the night?
Yeah, because he had brought a woman to our house. So to kind of avoid the fighting, I had left, yes.
Ms. Chirpus said she had guy friends, and she wasn't intimate with any of them. Mr. McQueen said a week after he left his house that Ms. Chirpus moved her ex-boyfriend in, the one that was giving her money. He said 2 weeks after that, he heard she was sleeping with another man. There were murmurs in the audience. Ms. Chirpus said it was all hearsay, nothing concrete.
I have guy friends. I'm allowed to have friends.
So you have guy friends?
Yeah.
None of whom you've been intimate with?
Nope.
A week after I left my house, she moved her ex-boyfriend in, the one she was getting money with before. A week after that, I heard she was sleeping with another man, and then 3 weeks after that, she chose another one.
Ms. Chirpus said Mr. McQueen cheated on her 2 weeks after finding out she was pregnant. Ms. Peggy said the responsibilities had fallen on her and her husband, that Mr. McQueen was the one that was excited about the baby. Mr. Glurber, the man Ms. Chirpus spent the night with, was called to the stands. Mr. Glurber said he has a sexual relationship with Ms. Chirpus. Only the DNA results can settle this debacle once and for all.
The biological father is Mr. McQueen. See? You are the father, Mr. McQueen.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Where do we go from here?
Back home and I'm there 100%, Your Honor.
Thank you, because I'm tired.
I can tell she is just that. For 8 months, she's had to fill in your shoes. Ms. Luce, you are suing the defendant for $2,716.86 of back child care expenses for your son, Marley.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say there's no need for a paternity test because you're certain he is your baby's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Will that be the case of Ms. Luce versus Mr. Zuniga? Ms. Luce claims that Mr. Zuniga is the father of her child after a 2-week fling, and he owes her a backlog of childcare expenses. She even brought the receipts like a store clerk manager. Mr. Zuniga claims he is not the father, and he doesn't owe her a dime. Which of them is telling the truth?
And your son.
For the first 4 months of my son's life, he was there. He stepped up. He was a man. He wanted to be his father. He was excited about everything. And then all fell through. He abandoned us. I had to take care of my son alone, on my own. I had to pay for every little bit of the expenses, all the diapers, all the wipes, every single piece of clothing he needed.
Mr. Zuniga said he didn't abandon the child because he never really felt he was the father. He said Ms. Luce felt easy, that they had sex on the first day. He said he spent most of his earnings the previous year on the child. Ms. Luce said Mr. Zuniga paid for the crib and some clothes, and that was all.
No idea who he is.
Mr. Zuniga, did you abandon them?
First of all, Your Honor, I didn't feel like I abandoned him. At first, I never really thought the kid was mine. From day one, she seemed easy. We had sex the first day.
So have you helped at all with Marley?
Yeah.
Any money, any financial support?
Mr. Zuniga said he never really knew Ms. Luce. He said he met her through a mutual friend. They had unprotected sex. He said he found out she wasn't into relationships, that she hops from man to man. Ms. Luce said she wasn't sleeping with anyone else while she was intimate with Mr. Zuniga.
$16.86. Mr. Zuniga, I need to understand your doubt.
First of all, I never really knew her.
Okay, you slept with her, right?
I met her.
Oh, no, answer my
through a
question.
mutual friend.
You
Yeah.
slept with her, right?
Yes.
Did you use protection?
No.
Well, you know her now.
Yes.
Mr. Zuniga said he didn't have any other children. He said he always thought he was sterile. He said he has had a lot of sport-related injuries. He said he has been in 3 long-term relationships where he has tried to have kids, and he couldn't. Ms. Luce said she didn't have any doubt because she was only sleeping with Mr. Zuniga.
Mr. Zuniga, do you have any other children?
No, ma'am. I've always thought I was sterile.
You do?
Yes. Putting the long relationships aside and trying to have, kids with them and consulting doctors. I did a lot of sports. I've had a lot of sports-related injuries. I think that might have something to do with it. I've been in at least 3 long-term relationships where I've tried to have children with them.
Mr. Zuniga said a lady once approached him and told him that Ms. Luce was cheating on him with her husband. Mr. Zuniga said the baby looked like the man. They both have red hair and blue eyes. Ms. Luce said she did have a sexual relationship with the man in question, but it happened after she had broken up with Mr. Zuniga.
Kids until he got off work.
You know what I mean? Add something?
Yes, sir. What would you like to add?
While I was at work, I asked her what she used to do. And she used to tell me she was going to her brother figure house and getting her moped fixed. I mean, that thing's probably still broke right now.
Mr. Zuniga said they were only together for 2.5 weeks. He said that Ms. Luce could have been pregnant before he even slept with her. The judge told Ms. Luce that she was a beautiful young woman, that she shouldn't live up to her last name. Ms. Luce called a witness. It was Mr. Zuniga's mother. The entire courtroom gasped.
As far as I know, she could have been pregnant before I even got with her.
Why are you young people running around having unprotected sex with people you knew for 2 weeks? Okay, Miss Luce, you worrying me now. Because no, you're a beautiful young girl and I don't want you living up to your last name.
Ms. Kimberly said she loves her son. She said she submitted pictures to the court showing how much Mr. Zuniga and the baby looked alike. Mr. Zuniga said that his mother has always wanted him to have kids. Ms. Kimberly said that wasn't the case, that her son goes through women like toilet paper. She thought Ms. Luce was just a fling until the baby came along.
Mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Explain to the court how you feel about this situation.
I love my son, don't get me wrong. I really honestly love my son, and I would be on my son's side, but his reasonings are crazy to me. What makes you have a baby? Sex. What did they do? Have unprotected sex.
A picture of Mr. Zuniga holding the baby was displayed on the monitor. He said he wasn't a jerk and that he didn't have a father growing up. Ms. Luce said he agreed to give the baby his last name. Mr. Zuniga refuted the claims. He said Ms. Luce gave the child his last name without his consent. Ms. Kimberly said her son was upset when he couldn't be present for the birth of the child.
Like you.
Babies don't look like nobody when they're born.
Right here, we have in the monitor a picture of you holding the baby.
Well, I'm not a jerk, Your Honor. I didn't have a dad.
You agreed to give him your last name.
Yes.
I didn't give him my last name.
This
She
is
did that
important.
on my
Hold on.
consent.
Yes,
This is
Ms.
important to
Vertigan,
me.
say what you need to say.
He was so upset we couldn't make it. He was mad.
Mr. Zuniga said he signed the birth certificate when the baby was born, but Ms. Luce lost the paperwork. The lie detector results were presented. It showed that Ms. Luce was lying about sleeping with other men at the same time she was seeing Mr. Zuniga. A DNA test was ordered. Both parties returned to the court. Only the DNA results can settle this matter.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Zuniga, you are his father.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Ms. Torrey and Ms. Henderson, you have both with cases against the defendant, Mr. Goodson. You have joined together because you, Ms. Torrey, claim the defendant is of your 2 kids.
Life, they say, is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. This certainly was not what 2 women, Ms. Torrey and Ms. Henderson, was expecting when they had intimate relationships with Mr. Goodson. They both claim that Mr. Goodson is the father of their respective children. Mr. Goodson wasn't buying any of it. He's adamant he's not responsible. Could they all be lying?
Additionally, you state Ms. Henderson slept with you and your cousin in the same time frame, and therefore
It was a lie.
her daughter is yours. Please tell us about your story.
My story is that I went on a chat line one day and his cousin on the chat line.
Ms. Henderson said she went on a chat line one day and she met Mr. Goodson's cousin there. She said the cousin came around to pick her up. He came in a white truck and Mr. Goodson was in the back seat looking at her. She said an hour later, Mr. Goodson called her and he told her that he wanted to see her. He later came to see her in a stolen car. The entire courtroom gasped.
The music all loud or whatnot. He in the back hall like looking at me like, ooh, he wanted me or whatever. Go take some drinks or whatnot, listening to music. They recording music. They were having fun. After that night was over, he dropped me back off at home.
Ms. Henderson said the police showed up next and told them to get out of the car. Mr. Goodson denied the whole ordeal. Ms. Terry said she believed it because one day, his mother told her that Mr. Goodson stole her quarter to come and see her. Ms. Henderson said she didn't know the car was stolen. Mr. Goodson said it happened because Ms. Henderson wanted to leave his cousin for him.
He like, yeah, but I'm outside. Next you know, here come the police like, freeze. Get out the car. I'm like, really? You came to pick me up in the stolen car? Really? Right.
I don't know nothing about that.
Wait a minute. You don't know nothing about it.
I don't know nothing
I believe because his mama said she's her car to come and see me.
Ms. Henderson said she became intimate with Mr. Goodson after he came out of jail for stealing the car. She said he called her and he came around to pick her up, and they went out and got drunk. She said they had sex that day. She said they continued having unprotected sex for up to a year. Mr. Goodson said it was with him and his cousin. Ms. Henderson refuted the claim.
He called me like, can I come see you or whatnot? And I'm like, yeah. He came to see me again, but this time it was with his Caucasian homeboy and his son. And so I hopped in the van with them. We went to their house.
Did you check the registration?
I didn't check the registration.
The cousin, Mr. Thomas, was called to the stands. He said his relationship with Ms. Henderson was strictly sexual, that she was a one-night stand. He said that either him or Mr. Goodson was the father. Ms. Torrey said she met Mr. Goodson through one of her cousins. She said they met that weekend and ended up having sex.
It's Mr. Thomas.
How you doing?
Now, Mr. Thomas, we need to understand, what was your relationship with Ms. Henderson?
It's just like a friendship, one night thing, some nights.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna need you to repeat that.
I said it just
a little louder.
It's like a one night thing. You know how it be some nights you might get drunk, be with somebody, might turn you on, it just happen.
Ms. Torrey said ever since she had her son that Mr. Henderson has been denying him. Mr. Goodson said he liked Ms. Torrey, but he felt that she lied too much. He said she went behind his back to go have sex with another man. Ms. Torrey said he was lying. He said that Ms. Torrey used to call guys in his face, and he did the same thing to her.
Mr. Goodson, just tell the court, what is going on?
With me and Andrea, I like Andrea very much, but I feel like she lied too much. Like, she lied. She'd tell me something, but 6 months later or whatever, but then 6 months later, it's in the past or whatever, so.
Mr. Goodson said he called one of the guys one day, and he said that the child was his. He said he was in a relationship with Ms. Torrey, and she was sleeping with other men. Ms. Torrey said the other guy did it to make Mr. Goodson mad. She said she didn't know the guy was going to say that.
I got in her phone one day, I called this dude in her phone. Dude answered the phone, he was like, we had changed some words with each other. And then he was like, yeah, this my, that's why I take my son.
Okay, watch your language.
I'm sorry. He like, yeah, this is my son. So that was kind of really what made me wonder.
So you were in a relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Torrey said Mr. Goodson was insecure. She said he always accuses her of cheating on him. She said she never cheated on him, that she even tattooed his name on her neck, that she wouldn't cheat on somebody like that. Mr. Goodson said he also tattooed her name on him too.
I know because I had the same thing growing up. I ain't have a father, so I know how it feels.
And knowing how it feels, you understand the importance in this courtroom, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have 2 kids that you claim he's not taking care of.
Right.
Why do you think he's denying?
Mr. Goodson's mother, Ms. Anderson, was called to the stands. She said she didn't want his son to be like his father. She said his father has 17 kids. The entire courtroom gasped. She said she thinks the kids are her grandkids. She said she's trying to make his son straight and be a good father. She said she felt sorry for the girls because her son doesn't have a job. Only the DNA test can settle these disputes. Show results.
2-year-old Charles III, Mr. Goodson, you are the father.
I knew that any damn way.
4-month-old Dreon, Mr. Goodson, you are the father.
Come on.
It has been determined that when it comes to 4-year-old Lazasia, Mr. Goodson, you are the father.
Yeah.
Miss Tucker, you believed another man was your dad until a bomb was dropped on you 10 years ago when your mother admitted that the defendant is your biological father.
A young woman's world was being shattered by those she had called parents for years. Ms. Adriana, after being lied to for many years, comes to court to find out the truth about who her real father is. The man present in court, Mr. Hunter, claims he's not her father. Her mother, Ms. Tucker, was also present. Will she finally get the closure she has been searching for all her life? Maybe this might end as a family reunion.
I opened my case because for these last few years, I have been trying to get Charles to do a DNA test with me. Twice I scheduled a test, he didn't show up. And it's just a lot of confusion in my own mind, and it's very traumatic to me. I'm trying to figure out if he's my father or not to close this chapter in my life.
Mr. Hunter said he wants Ms. Adriana to find out who her her real father is. He said he had doubts because Ms. Tucker told him he wasn't the father 30 years ago. Ms. Tucker said she told her that someone else was her father at the time. She said it was to protect her because she felt that Mr. Hunter wasn't a good role model. She said the man she was dating at the time wasn't good either.
And so, Mom, Miss Tucker?
Yes, Your Honor.
You hear your daughter speak?
Yes, Your Honor.
Express her pain?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you and Mr. Hunter have always known that he was her biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Adriana said she believed the other man was her father growing up. She said she only heard his name growing up, and his sister used to come and get her, and they treated her like family. She said she was with his family every weekend, but she never met him. Not once. She said he was never around.
So, Miss Tucker, tell me, who did you believe was your father early in life?
I believe the other gentleman was my father. I always grew up only hearing his name, and his sister used to come and get me, and they treated me as their own. Every weekend, I would be with his family.
Ms. Adriana said she spoke with the other for the first time on the telephone when she was in the 5th grade. She said the other man told her that her mom wasn't being honest with her, that she knows she wasn't his daughter. Some members of the audience gasped. She said she got off the phone traumatized.
To meet me, she believed that I was his daughter, and I walked in and I asked, was that him on the phone? And she said yes. She gave me the phone, and it was my first time ever talking to him. I was really excited.
Ms. Adriana said she was in the 7th grade when she heard about Mr. Hunter. She said a woman told her she looked just like her dad, and she mentioned Mr. Hunter's name. Ms. Adriana said she got home and told her mother. Her mother told her the woman was lying, that she didn't know what she was talking about.
I was in the 7th grade, and where we're from is very small. So I was at a store, and there's a woman who knows them both, and she told me, she said, you look just like your dad.
Mr. Hunter said when he found out Ms. Tucker was pregnant, she told him the baby wasn't his. So he left and got his own place and tried to get life together. He said he stayed gone for 15 to 16 years. Then he came back and he started hearing rumors that he's the father of Ms. Adriana. Ms. Adriana said Mr. Hunter came to her school and told her that he was her father. She said she told him no.
You were dating exclusively? You were boyfriend and girlfriend, or just?
Yeah, for a short while.
Okay.
Yeah, for a short while. But when she told me she was pregnant, she said the baby wasn't mine. I left and I got my life together. And I stayed gone for 15, 16 years. I came back to North Carolina hearing rumors that she was mine.
Mr. Hunter said he vaguely remembers the conversation. He said it was a long time ago. He said he could have been joking. The judge interrupted him abruptly, saying that it was inappropriate to do that to a child and chalk it up as a joke, that it was a serious matter. The entire courtroom clapped in agreement.
Pretty much probably what they were going back and forth about was me.
So, Mr. Hunter, did you show up at the school and tell Miss Tucker I'm your father?
That was a long time ago.
Mr. Hunter regrettably admits that when he heard the rumors that Ms. Adriana could have been his daughter, that he should have stepped up. The judge was nodding in agreement. He said he wasn't denying her, but he wasn't sure because they've had a DNA test yet, that he had things on his plate at the time.
But that's one reason why I've continued to seek you, because of what you told me that day. That's just the truth.
I'll admit that when I found some words out that she might have been my daughter, I should have stepped up and did something. So I had a lot of things on my plate, but I wasn't denying her.
Ms. Adriana said she was 23 when her mother told her that Mr. Hunter could be her real father. She said her aunt was the one that told her. Mr. Hunter said he felt the reason Ms. Tucker was resentful towards him was because he slept with her sister. Ms. Adriana said this is the most she has gotten out of both of her parents on this issue. She said it shouldn't have come to this. Only the DNA results can stop her pain.
Mr. Hunter, you are not the father. I'm sorry, Adriana.
It's okay. I just wanted answers so that I don't have to keep interrupting his life or, keep going through this in my own life. So.
Ms. Ganal, you and your sister agree that the man you've known to be your father is denying paternity.
Yes.
Yet you disagree about why you've come to court today. One of you is hoping the DNA test will prove he is your biological father.
Almost like the Dickens novel, this was a tale of two sisters, Ms. Kira and Ms. Geinold. They both claim that Mr. Hardin, the man they've known their whole life, is denying paternity. They said he was never around. Mr. Hardin said he's being burdened with child support payments. One of the sisters is hoping the DNA results will prove that Mr. Hardin is their father, while the other is hoping that he's not. Unexpected twist. Which one of them will get their wish?
Why you've always had doubts. So, Ms. Ganault, first, just explain to the court, when's the last time you saw this man?
Mr. Hardin actually came to our house in Minnesota and with his two sisters.
Ms. Kira, with glistened eyes, said she wanted Mr. Hardin to be in her life so badly. She said during her sporting events in school, she wanted him to be there. She said she watched through the windows hoping to see him, but Mr. Hardin never showed up. She said they waited and waited and he never showed up.
I wanted this man so bad in my life. I played basketball, I ran track. All my friends had both mom and dad there. I had my mom. I wanted him. I watched through my windows and watched raindrops fall and he wasn't there.
Mr. Hardin said their mother didn't allow him to come around at all. He said there's no way he wouldn't want to be around his daughters. Ms. Ginild said he was lying. Mr. Hardin said he had his doubts because he usually catches their mother with different men during the course of their relationship. He said the first time he caught their mother cheating, his first daughter was 6 weeks old.
Mother didn't allow me to come around them at all. There's no way that I would not want to be around my daughters, Your Honor.
You're lying right there.
I asked for a paternity test from day one, and Your Honor, I've always doubted because I used to catch Ms. Gannell.
Mr. Hardin said that when their mother was pregnant with the first child, he knew there was a possibility he was the father, but he was entirely sure because she had slept with his friends prior to that. The entire courtroom gasped. He said he had to take a break before they got back together a month later.
That Shanice, your oldest daughter, is yours. What specific thing happened?
They were 9 years old before she said that I was the father.
Well, look, when you found out she was pregnant, did you think the baby was yours?
There was a possibility, Your Honor, but
you only felt there was a possibility?
Yes, because she had slept with two of my friends prior to that.
Ms. Terry, the mother, was called to the stands. She said she was dealing with somebody prior to when she got together with Mr. Hardin. She said Mr. Hardin was also in a relationship. She said she was sleeping with somebody else before she got together with Mr. Hardin. So there's a possibility concerning paternity for her first daughter.
He was their biological father because you had been unfaithful. Were you unfaithful?
I was dealing with somebody prior to us getting together, and like I said, prior to us getting together, he was also in a relationship. And when I first got pregnant, he was excited about it.
Mr. Hardin said he didn't sign any parental documents, nor did he sign the birth certificates. He said he got a court order because he was late for court. He said they took his truck driver's license. He said because he was late to court, he was named the father by default. He said he begged for a paternity test. He even petitioned the court.
Any documents?
Judge Lake, I never signed any parental documents, no birth certificates, nothing. I was issued a court order because I was late for court in the initial court date, and they ruled as default.
Ms. Kira said Mr. Hardin was only concerned about the DNA tests when he started paying child support, that he cared more about his money. Mr. Hardin said he asked the court several times to do a paternity test. The judge asked why he didn't just ask his daughters. He said he was unavailable most times and he didn't have the funds. Ms. Kira said she told him she would pay for it. The entire courtroom clapped.
It's all about the money. The money. You never, when you started paying child support payments, that's when you wanted DNA tests. You didn't have none of this before.
I was garnished from.
So listen, let me ask you this, Mr. Hardin. So
yes.
You requested a paternity test.
Yes, Your Honor, several times.
You weren't granted one by the court.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hardin said Ms. Terry told him to contact the other fellow she used to date, that there was a possibility the other man could be the father. Ms. Terry said it was a lie. Mr. Hardin wasn't giving in. He said Ms. Terry gave him the phone number. The judge asked Ms. Terry if the other men that were involved were also contacted concerning child support payments. She said no, that they were not contacted.
Came out of her mouth with
a conversation.
When did she tell you?
She told me that she wanted me to contact the other fellow that she used to date that may be a possibility. She asked me to give me her number, and she said that basically she doesn't know and they may not be mine, period.
Ms. Ginild said Mr. Hardin is denying them because he doesn't want to pay the backlog of child support. Mr. Hardin said Ms. Terry told him that he was not the father back then. Ms. Terry said it was a lie. Mr. Hardin submitted evidence showing where his checks were going. Mr. Hardin said he hopes they're both his daughters and he wants to get over it. Only the DNA results can settle this family matter.
Mr. Hardin, you are her father.
I told you. I told you. All these years that you and I have been told you. All these years I told you that was your kid.